Okay, just to understand the Inyan of Hoshana Rabbah, what is this, the chasima that there is tonight that there wasn't on Yom Kippur, and you have to also understand that it sort of breaks with the norm. Like the din on Rosh Hashanah was during the day, the chasima, during daylight hours. Right, the chasima of Yom Kippur was also, during the day, ended with Ne'ilah. Right, and this chasima is made at night.
Tomorrow night or tonight?
Tonight. The chasima is tonight.
Tomorrow night, tomorrow for Kilbun.
No, then the chasima is made tonight, but in course of the day, the pitka is released. But the chosam is made in course of the night. Pretty much ad chatzos, but it's still not solidified. You can play with it, but then after the chosam is made in course of the night, then the petek is released, but the petek is not doesn't go active until Shmini Atzeres, right? And so that's why even in course of the day, you could still do tshuva and try to change things because the petek hasn't been activated. It's of Shmini Atzeres. That's why we daven for Geshem on Shmini Atzeres, that the new shefa of the new year begins to come. It's like the game gets started on Shmini Atzeres.
What happens with the Hanukkah?
No, I don't know Makor for that. What they say that there's till Hanukkah, but not complaining. There's always another chance of let there be. Right. But just understand, that this is called, that there's the chosam, and chosam is made during the night, and that's why we're misdaris with the different tikkunim of saying the Mishnah Torah before Chatzos, and saying the whole Sefer Tehillim for those who can. But the ikar is to get Mishnah Torah done before Chatzos already. So to understand the idea of the Arava. It's minhag neviim, and they didn't want to make it a mitzvah. It's not a mitzvah, so I don't make a bracha. It's minhag neviim. And so that's why we don't make a bracha on it. Al chibud arava. They wanted to be not begetter mitzvah. Not begetter mitzvah. It should be chavit v'lo borich. Right? Hit, but no bracha. Right? And there's the understanding also. Right? Why the arava? All right, the arava represents the yidden that have not Torah and not meisim tovim. That's why there's no tam, connected Torah, and no reach, right, connected meisim tovim. Right, so why the arava? Right, this is it's Yom HaArava. So to understand a little bit of all this, there's we have some unfinished business, obviously, from Yom Kippur, because during the 7 days of Sukkot, we're aside from the fact that we're sacrificing Shivim Parim Keneged Shivim Umos, but we're also makif, with the lulav, and we say Hoshana, save us. Right, Mechlal Debai Yeshua. I decided that we need to be saved from. It's not over yet. The nitzachon from Yom Kippur is not complete. So you have to understand, what about Yom Kippur is still not complete? That actually gets completed tonight, and that's this part of the simcha of Shmini Atzeres. That's the Gemar, Mamish, Atzeres. It's closed. It's closed the circuit. Right, that's and what happens at Hoshana Rabbah is critical in finally bringing things to a close. Right, closure. Right, the Indian that we have to understand. Just in general, talking about the Ribbon Shalom's din. Right, the din of the Ribbon Shalom is not like a din of Basar V'Dam. Right, the din of Basar V'Dam, like American law. Right? Reality is reality, right? And the law is superimposed. It's a social contract. There's nothing real, there's no mahut, right, to the laws of the state. It's something that people have agreed upon. Right? There's nothing in nature that says that you shouldn't be driving faster than 50 miles an hour, on the highways. It's nothing natural about that. Right, it's you could drive any speed you want. The laws of nature facilitate. Yes, we agreed amongst ourselves agreed an idea, right? That this is as fast as you can go. And the same thing with all other things that are called law and order, right? Reality is whatever it is, and then we have imposed this upon ourselves, and it's artificial. That's not the din of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right? The din of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mamash life itself, right? That the istakel b'raisa ubora alma, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from the laws of the Torah created the whole world, and as this we've explained on other occasions, that we speak about the natural laws as laws, right? The law of gravity, right, and the laws of physics, the laws of biology, laws of chemistry. Because why do we call them laws? Not because anyone ever agreed upon them, right? We call them laws because they're sharir v'kayim. These things are solid, right? They're solid and they don't change, and you could rely on them. Where does that come from? That comes from the midas hadin. That all comes from the olah b'machshava liboros b'midas hadin. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu, set up the structure of reality. And of course, you have to allow for some flexibility. So shitiv mabinas rachim ubra'ah. But the midas hadin is really the beginning of creation itself. Structure. It's the structure of reality. And so the Rebbe Shalom's din is mamish. It's the laws of nature. It's not something artificial superimposed on nature. It's not like nature's. And Rebbe Shalom cramped our style with the mitzvahs that he gave us. No. These mitzvahs are life itself. So ki chayechem v'rachem, we say kihem chayenu, right? Right today in the Mishnah Torah, ki chayechem, right? It's ubacharta b'chaim. It's called life. To go with Torah is called life, right? That's what the Gemara means in Babasa. Kol dayan shedan din emes la'amito nasa shutaf la'Hakadosh Baruch Hu b'maisa bereishis. Right? If a dayan that meets out din Torah properly is a partner of God in creation. Because din Torah really is the law of life. Right? So we have to realize something, right? That the two themes of Rosh Hashanah, right, which kicks off this whole season, that's coming to a final closure with Hoshana Rabbah. It's one long process, as we're going to explain. Right? So we know that there's two themes in Rosh Hashanah, really three, right? Two that are three, right? There's that the world is being renewed, Hayom Haras Olam, right? As if it's a new beginning, Rosh Hashanah. Right? It's also Yom Adin, right? And part of it being a Yom Adin is, what fits into this also is being Mamlech HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? Right? And these aren't disjointed ideas. They're actually all, different angles of the same idea, right? The Rebbe Shalom's law is life itself, right? And it's coming to, make a new beginning, a new year. So just like originally, the Bria started with Olah b'machshava b'liboros b'midas hadin, that's how the new year starts also, with midas hadin. It's building a new year. And everything's open for reevaluation. But you got to realize that, the new year, and the midas hadin that's passing on the world, it's mamash the pshat to restructure and reformat reality. Right? And all of reality is like silly putty in the hands of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What gives it structure and strength that seems firm is because of the midas hadin. Because he legislated, it should be like this, and because there's all gzeiraso yisbarach in how things run, that's why things seem strong. Same things like natural law, and it is natural law. The laws of nature stands on midas dino yisbarach. Right? So every time he's coming to renew, the world on another annual cycle, it has to start with midas hadin. If there's going to be any solidity to it, any structure to it, right? And the fact that the din is upon us, harei yesh lahakshos, it's midas hadin, kol boy olam ovrim lefanav kibnei moron, right? We should be enlisting any goy that's willing to listen to join the effort. It's Yom Hadin, right? And only Klal Yisrael knows it's a Yom Hadin, because it's not even written in the Torah Shebechsav. It was hidden in the Torah Sheba'al Peh. Right? In Chumash, you wouldn't know that Rosh Hashanah is a Yom Hadin. You would think it's something that, all of mankind should be aware. So they should, gather forces of all decent people, right, to, be motzachein b'nei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that everyone, the whole world should be, nechtav and nechtam, for a Shana Tova, right? But the Indian is like this, right? That everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does is only for Klal Yisrael. It's only for Klal Yisrael. Right? That's why, only Klal Yisrael is a player, right, in this, effort to refashion and redesign the world. The Goyim are not players in that game. Right, so the Midas Hadin will, befall them, like the Midas Hadin will also befall how many crops will grow, and also what will be the animal population. Right, they're subject to the to the final outcome, but they're not players in determining how the din milechatchila will be legislated. They don't have a shurish there. We're the players in that game. Right, that the din on Klal Yisrael, right. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu made Dafka Klal Yisrael aware that it's a Yom Adin, and we have to be mizdares, to be mamlechim, because the whole bria, another reason, I'm saying why the bria is built in that surah, right? That the Midas Hadin is the structure that upholds reality, is because there's another definition to existence. It's really the only definition of existence. How do you define existence? Malchus, right? The whole existence, whatever God created, it is His kingdom. That's what it is, right? And that's what's brought down in Svarim, that that nakuda that emerged as a result of the original tzimtzum, that nakuda is Malchus. Everything that exists is, how do you define existence? Define existence. The definition of existence is Malchus, Malchus Yisbarach. And the pasuk says, "Melech b'mishpat yamid eretz." Besides Dina the Malchusa Dina, right? It's a kingdom, and there's the laws of the king. Right? That's how, that's what the tzura of Malchus is. That the Malchus is everything that's subject to the laws of the king. So since the whole mitzias of existence is Malchus, right? And that's how this all fits in Rosh Hashanah. It's the day of being Mamlech HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's a Yom Adin, and it's the day that the Bria renews, and all these things are just different angles of the same idea, right? Because the reality is his Malchus, and the way a Melech reigns is b'mishpat, and this mishpat is what, mispalo b'shloima shel Malchus, shel mole Malchus ish Yisrael chaim blo. Law and order. Got to respect the flag, right? Right. Law and order. It's a horrible thing. They want anarchy, right? It's an us. Right. Right. And that's what renews. But only only Klal Yisrael is the player in this game. It's an amazing thing. Bereshis b'shul Yisrael sheniku Bereshis. It's all tell you how much Am Yisrael's Makabel HaKadosh Baruch Hu as the Melech. Right. They're not players in this game. And that's the sort of Atim Kriyim Adam, Vena Akum Kriyim Adam. Nefesh Chaim writes, and that's what it means. We're the ones that our meisim have global effect. The Goyim, they have mitzvahs and averos. They get rewarded and punished for what they do, but their mitzvahs and averos don't refashion reality, right? And even when they get their own onish, right? Sometimes sometimes they get it like sort of collectively in a world-shaping way, that the whole world is affected. Right? We call that Puranius. Right, like, for instance, hurricanes, forest fires, right? Earthquakes, right? And the Rebbe didn't just close cheshbonos with them individually. He did something that had a global effect, and this is what Chazal say: "Ein puranius ba la'olam ela b'shvil Yisrael." The fact that there was something global about it. It wasn't Stam HaKadosh Baruch Hu being porei the chov that he has with individual shayim. He consolidated it in a certain world-shaping event, something global. So that's all b'shvil Yisrael, right? That we should take musar. Once it reaches global, and it's not just giving each individual his just desserts. Whenever it reaches anything global, that's Klal Yisrael's game. So even if he's manish the goyim in a tzura that's global, that's poronius ba la'olam, it's b'shvil Yisrael. Everything's b'shvil Yisrael. Right? We're the players in this game. Right? So, this is is more material for them. More material for them to be makatrik on us. Right? Because there is, how good are we? But there's also why us and not them. Why were we made the players that everything in the Bria is hinging on? Right? Why us and not them? Are we really better? That's because this cranks up the scrutiny on our maisim so much more. Besov svivav nisra mod kashum medaktek in svivav kachut asira, because we're in this elevated position, right? And that gives us greater responsibility, and therefore the kitrugim of the goyim get we're in a much more difficult position because they're not just talking about what we've done, but also why we're in the special position that we're in. Do we really deserve it? But and so now when the understanding the process, what it means, Rosh Hashanah yikasevim ubiyom tzom kippur yechasevim, right? That the chasima is on Yom Kippur. What's changing, right? It's just saying, you could do tshuva and you could write something else. No, it's like ksiva and chasima. But you got to realize, based on what we're saying, that really the emergence of the Ribbon Shalom's din and gzeris is really the bria going from potential to actual. It's a process of emergence. The Ribbon Shalom's din is life itself. Right? He's being geyser chaim. Right? We just, the shallow mind looks at the negative side of the midas hadin. It doesn't give you as much as you want. You don't realize that it's legislating life. It is what gives, it is what's holding up reality. Give me besod, the laws of nature. That's all mishtalsho from midas hadin. Right? And that means an amazing thing, right? That that as the din is going through the process of, as we're going to explain, ksiva to the chasim of Yom Kippur, to the chasim of Leil Hoshana Rabbah, to the Mesiras HaPetek, you're talking about the new reality of the new year going from potential to actual. It's being born. Rosh Hashanah is the conception, right? It's it's like, as we're being pregnant with the new year. And then there's the stages of its emergence, right? So that the chasim of Yom Kippur, right, is the pshat is that now this has been endorsed, but it's moving it another step towards, being from theory to being not just theory, but as it were, this is going to be the plan. That's what it means. It gets solidified that there's not ideas. Now there's going to be, nechtam means that this is going to be the tfus of reality. So now when you want to imprint something, you have to do as it were, the bria at the end of, Leil Chavtes, Leil Chavtes, at the end, Motzai Chavtes Elu, right? As Rosh Hashanah's come in, the whole last year expired. And the bria you see in front is just a piece of silly putty. It just looks cosmetically the same to the world that we used to know, but it's only cosmetically the same, right? And its whole new tsura is rofef, right? It's waiting to get its new tsura imprinted upon it, right? On Rosh Hashanah, there's the ideas, right? And we have until Yom Kippur, right? To try to add sentences to the commands, add new programming, correct programming, right? The chasim of Yom Kippur is the pshat that it becomes a chosam. Now it becomes a press that's going to be imprint. Right? It goes from being theory to being a chotam that's going to now put its imprint on reality. Right? But when you're talking about a chosam, you're talking about two things. Right? The imprinter and the imprinted. Right? There's the press and there's the thing that is pressed. Right? The tfus and the matbea. Right? The thing that actually gets imprinted upon. right? And that's the unfinished business that there still is after Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur made the chasima, right? It made the chotam, right? And then now this is, what's going to be the tzura of how next year is going to look, right? It still has to be imprinted, and that's the second chosam. Right? There's the tfus, that's called the chotam, and then there's the, in the modern Hebrew they call it chotemet, right? Right? That's what they call modern Hebrew. It's not, but there's the chotam, and then there's the chotam as in the imprint that's received, right? And so now so now you could understand, already put together the pieces yourself, right? Why the chosam of Hoshana Rabbah is at night, whereas the din of Rosh Hashanah is during the day, and the chosam of Yom Kippur is made during the day, right? Because what we're trying to accomplish on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur is, they want Gzeira Tov from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Want to be Nechtav L'chaim, that He does, right? We want to be Nechtam L'chaim, that He does, right? He's making the rules, and then he's deciding to to solidify it as a chotem that's going to make the tzura. It's going to imprint upon reality that new tzura. What's going to be the tzura of Tafshin Ayin Ches, right? But then there's, when does actually the world get imprinted? So there's the mashpia, and then there's the makabel, right? And we know that that's the difference between the sun and the moon. Right? The sun is the mashpia; it's the one that emanates light. Right? The moon just receives the light, right? Reflects the light of the sun, right? And we know that that's our cosmic role. Knesset Yisrael. Knesset Yisrael is Nimshal Levana, we're Mona Levana, right? Right? So Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu's, doing the chasima on His side of things, but the imprint on reality, right? That happens on Leil Hoshana Rabbah. That's the chosam of tonight. That the midah of Malchus, which is us, we're His Malchus. The whole Bria in general, right, is called His Malchus. But Am Yisrael was singled out to be called His Malchus per se. And that's why we're the globalists, right? And only we're allowed to be the globalists, right? Not them, right? That's our job. That's why the UN is treif. They're trying to take our job from us. We'll be the ones who determine the global order, right? Right. Hashem l'melech hakol haaretz. Hashem l'melech hakol haaretz. Duch malchus Yisrael, right? Duch malchus Yisrael. The UN is what's left of Migdal Bavel. So that's fake unity. Right. Nothing good about it. But that's it, But Midas Malchuso Yisbarach Am Yisrael and Am Yisrael B'Klal and David Melch Befrat, who is tonight's Ushpizin, as we're going to explain, right? That's us. That's us. And that's the Levana. Right? So this is the Chosam that's made. This is the Chosam HaLevana, Kayadua. Right? And a person could, as the Ramah brings the Shulchan Aruch, what's already from the Kadmonim, you can have signs of what's going to happen to you. Right? Your shadow that's cast by the light of the moon, right? Well, you're not supposed to. It says Tom Tiana, because daiga is, it makes your mazel worse. You shouldn't do it because it may cause you to worry, but shouldn't check. I mean, but Chasim Achmas used to check. As Meister brought down from the Kadmon, if someone didn't see his head, you don't see your head. But it has to be like shadow from the light of the moon. Mom, street lights don't count. No, street lights. No.
You have to go out.
And that's you have to go out somewhere there's like no street lights. That's where you have to go. You have to go out, to the fields or something. And
I've tried this.
Yeah. No, if your head's missing, you're a goner. No, but as we said, we'll get more into it. The Kadmon say a person went out and checked, didn't see his head, but he did tshuva in course of the whole day of Hoshar, because the tshuva you could do all day long, as we're going to explain, right? Even though the chosam is made at night, but tshuva you could still do all day long because the petek doesn't go active until Shmini Atzeres. Right? So in Leil Shmini Atzeres, he looked, checked himself again, B'tzal Yareach, and saw his tzelem complete. Right? That's a Ramban on the pasuk Sar Tzilam Me'aleim. right? The Meraglim, saw that the Knanim, in the shadow, that the moonlight cast, they didn't have, Sar Tzil Me'alem.
That was in time was of.
Yeah, it doesn't know. It just means that the idea, in general, it's the idea in general, the tzel. So tonight it's the tzel of the arech. But getting back to our point, right? That the chosim that happens tonight is that the din gets imprinted onto reality. Now, so that means that the chosim of Yom Kippur wasn't full actuality yet because it hasn't been imprinted. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu Chasdav gave us the mitzvahs of Sukkah and Daled Minim, to sweeten things. That when the imprint finally happens, because until it's la'achar ma'isa, right, you could still change things. Like the famous one, we have this in Hilchos Tefillah also. If a person's about to measure a silo, he could say, "Yirot sheyisach bracha b'goren zeh." If you measured already, it's too late. You want to change history, can't change history. You could daven only moving forward. So even though you say it's the same grain, whether you measure or not, no, it's, till it's after, until it's post facto, things could still change. So until you count it, you can still daven, right? Yirosh yizach bracha b'goren zeh. Even though you're not picking anything new, right? Once you measured already, it's lachar ma'isa. Lachar ma'isa, it's you can't daven to change history, right? So until Hoshana Rabbah, right, the imprint of that chosim of Yom Kippur hasn't been received into the midas hamalchus, right, as it were, put into the kli kibul per se, and that's the second seal. That's the second seal, the seal of the makabel being nechtam by the chotam, right, that was created on Yom Kippur, b'schus, whatever tshuva we did, and that's why things could still be improved because things are not over yet, right? So now, we'll get back to this in a second, but just to finish the idea, after the chotam is imprinted, that's when the petek is released, because now it's been finalized. And now you have to give the marching orders to all the kochos of the bria to now follow. That's what it means mesiras hapetek. Right now the marching orders come out, because the final seal has been made. This is the tzura that the bria has to conform to, so that's why the petek goes out. And the petek goes out in course of today, but the petek doesn't go active, right? As it were, the orders are not executed. The orders are issued. They're not executed until Shmini Atzeres, and that's where, of course, if it's all good, that's the end of the Tfilas HaGeshem that we daven on Shmini Atzeres. Then now the Shefa starts coming down. The new Shefa, it's the Geshem, the Shefa. Now we're starting to be makabel, the Shefa B'Poel. Right, and that's what happens on Shmini Atzeres. The petek goes live, and that's why if Shmini Atzeres already, you can't. Too late to change anything. Of course, tshuva always helps, but things weren't, so malleable as they were before. Right? but now there's a special gemar din over here that the chosam is now being received, and the chosam again, the chosam is on Knesset Yisrael. And from Knesset Yisrael, it trickles down to the rest of the Bria. Because everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does cosmically, his whole kli that he works with is Knesset Yisrael. And what he does through, and his whole Ikar Asik is Niflosecha, Mashvosecha, Elenu. His whole Ikar Asik is with Klal Yisrael. And the whole world just gets shuffled around as, by ripple effect. Right? And what we get tonight is our chosam. Right, so there's a whole nother avoda over here tonight, but that's why it's at night. It's the din of the makabel. The dinim of Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur is the mashpia. That's sunlight, Sunday. Kodesh Baruch Hu, the mashpia, right? But tonight is the makabel, the moon. Right, the midah of Malchus is being makabel. It's chosam, right? And it's besod simeni kechosam alibecha. Now, there's a whole avoda tonight. There's also not just cosmically, but in the individual that we'll try to explain. Right, that we're getting imprinted tonight, or we have to show ourselves that we're worthy to be imprinted, being branded, that we belong to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right? Because, as we read in Mishnah Torah tonight, No melubchem bachar Hashem bachem, ki atem amat mikol ha'amim. But really, it's a kasha. The Rebbe took the smallest of nations to worship him. Wouldn't have been Roy. There's only a few million of us, and there are billions of them, right? Wouldn't have been more Roy. You should have chosen them, right? Get cumulatively a lot more done, right? Would have done, and of course who chose us, even though we're the mat mikol amim. But there's a lashon chazal that ki atem hamat mikol she'atem mam'item es atzmachem lefanai. You mitigate yourselves before me, right? Sounds like hamor cotton, right? The moon, right? Miut halavana, right? Right, that our being small is connected how the moon itself is small, right? This, and that smallness is it's a milo also. It's what needs fixing. That that smallness that needs to be expanded, and we want via orlavana korachama. In the future, it'll find that the makabel should be as big as the mashpia, right? So it says Shem Yonasi Tomasi. Al tikra tamasi el ta'omasi lo ani gedol mimech lo gedol mimeni, and that's all besod v'yer olavana korachama. The Knesset Yisrael will be able to reflect all of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's light, but that's the miyut that's a challenge. But there's also the miyut that's not just our challenge; it's our mission that we have to try to expand and build up the midah called Malchus Shemaim. That's called small. Right? The midah of Malchus is called small. That's the Levana. It's called small. Morkan, we have to build it up. We have to build up Malchus Shemaim and David HaMelech. Tonight's Ushpizin. Right? Sometimes he didn't live a very long life. But not only that, not only not live a very long life, lived 70 years. Beside the 7 lower midas that need building up, right? That are all, the Malchus is the point center of them. But it's more than that. He lived borrowed life. He lived on borrowed time. He was a nafel, right? He was meant to be a stillborn child. Adam Arishan donated 70 years of his life to him. Now that's niflamot. So first we understand that the malchus of Adam really passed to David HaMelech. David HaMelech was built out of years of Adam Arishan, right? But it's a fact that David HaMelech, lesle migarme klum. He didn't have any of his own life. Even his life is on loan. And that's what you find also about the midah of Malchus. It gets built up by Yibum, right? From Yudah and Tamar, Yibum as it was in customary, before Matan Torah, right? Rus and Boaz, correct, right? It gets built up, that there's lahakim laachiv shem, right? Your brother didn't leave a she'eris of his own. You have to, right? Import, sense of, no sense of self, right? You're living on borrowed time, right? On gifts from others. You don't have your own, eigener zich, right? Sense of self, right? Right? And that's, the Gemara says in Perak Chelik, Emasai Bar Nafli. Asi, when is Bar Nafli? When is Mashiach coming? Why are you calling him the son of the Nephil? Why are you calling it son of the Nephil? Right, so ask him, why are you calling him Bar Nafli? He says, because I'll pee the pasuk. Bayamahu okim es sukas David hanofals. Right, on that day will raise up, the falling tent, right, of David. Right, and which is made into our harachaman. Harachaman yakin sukas David hanofals. It's called sukas David hanofals. Right? That's why Mashiach is called Bar Nafli. So we should call him Bar Hukam. Right? As the Radziner asks. No. That's his home. That's his chisaron, but that's his milo also. It's like the Levana. It's small. Right? But that's its chisaron, but that's also its milo. Right? That's what the Gemara says in Chulin, that after HaKadosh was Might the Levana, Mara Cotton. Right? So Levana compliant. It said tzadikim yikar al shmech. Tzadikim will be called katanim also. Right? More brings it to Psukim. Avasalam were called, katan. Right? Yaakov was called cotton. Right? Just like the moon. Right? The Indian is like this. Right? Because the constant critique that we have from the goyim. Right? Why are we better than them? Why are we? If we're going to go mitzvah versus mitzvah, we're never going to finish this competition ever. It's simple. They can always make a comeback, right? Do some type of massive, magnanimous, chesed or something, right? Right, and that's what they taina, lasid lavo. Ribosh, if you were giving us mitzvahs, so we know that's why they get sukkah, lasid lavo. Dafka sukkah is a mitzvah that they were potter from. We just show how they're pretty bitter about it. They kick. What's pshat in that? They kick the sukkah. Now that's the test. It was a tana me rosh v'nasena. I'm going to give you a mitzvah katana, mitzvah kala. Because back then there was a bachisar and kiss, but the right. Maybe lost at love also by the end of time also, right? It says ein bachisar and kiss, right? It's a mitzvah kala, right? And they're potter, It's very interesting. It's very interesting. The final competition will be with sukkah, right? And it's how they handle being potter from the mitzvah, how they handle being potter, not how they're makayim, right? That's a double niflalis bonin, right? But the pshat is like this because other gemaras right there in the same area in the first parak of Avodah Zarah talk about how they demand to be paid for all the good that they did. We did shvakim, we did commerce and gesharim, we business, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And all the good things they want to be paid for, and Hakadosh says no, you did it legarmayu. They did it for themselves. You did it for yourself. You didn't really do it for me. You didn't do it for Malchus Shemaim. You really didn't do it for Klal Yisrael. Klal Yisrael benefited also, but you're mechaven for yourself. You're mechaven for yourself. Right? On the competition of who does more, that's a competition that can't be nizbarer, ever conclusively, right? Because give them another chance. Maybe they'll do more, right? But then there's something else. How do you identify? How do you identify? What type of person are you? How do you view yourself? Right? In a competition of doing, let's just extend the time to game. It's beyond 6,000 years. Right? The competition could go on forever. Who does more good? The company could go on forever, right? Right. Well, the final Yeshua that takes us out of the kitrugim, right, is not because of what we do, even though we do very admirably also, and that's what actually the Daled Minim represent, our power of can do. That's why it's lachem mishalchem, and it's your noitel, and it has to do with kishem Hashem nikra lecha. The Daled Minim represents our can do, right? And we do a lot, and that's the tamim that there are, the tam, the reach, our Torah, and our mitzvahs, but that's not enough. That's not enough. Because I say, they can always say, give us a chance, we'll outperform Klal Yisrael. Give us another time, we'll outperform Klal Yisrael. Right? And also, you have to understand that if it's an issue of performance, it becomes a quantitative competition, not a qualitative difference. More or less. Well, right? To really win, you have to make it like you're qualitatively different, not quantitatively different. That was their taina. Give us mitzvahs also. Right? So as Rashi gives them sukkah, dafka sukkah, right? Not the Daled Minim, right? Because Daled Minim represents our can do. He wants to show them something else. Issue of self-perception, right? Klal Yisrael just wants to do what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. Nikuda, right? We don't have any independent sense of self that I want to worship HaKadosh Baruch Hu so I can profit and I can gain and I'll get pleasure or I'll get olam haba. Everyone knows that you're not supposed to be Oved HaKadosh Baruch Hu that way. You're supposed to be Oved HaKadosh Hu Lishma. Me'ava, Oseh Sans V'pnei Shu Emes. Right? And that's the difference between Avoda Lishma and Shelo Lishma is not a quantitative difference, it's a qualitative difference. It's an issue of, how, what type of person are you? What are you living for? Right? Am Yisrael lives for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? And we serve him because that's what he wants, and we serve him even if, in the end of the day, we'll fail, because you have to understand when you have Tarek mitzvahs, you're playing with fire, right? Because you have now more responsibility, right? Yecholiot la'alo saladas that it's possible. I'm not saying it will ever happen, but you understand that it is theoretically possible that a person will lose out by being Jewish. A person will lose out, right? For sure, this is what we tell Gerim. We'll try to dissuade them. Say, it's like, right now you have 7 mitzvahs. You could be easy for you to be on the top of your game. Now, right? No, we tell them that. No, it's Tarek mitzvahs. And you pay for everyone you do wrong, right? Right? But a Yid doesn't care, right? You'll accept the consequences of being Jewish, even if in the end it'll wind you up in Gehenna, theoretically. I'm not saying it'll ever happen, right? Theoretically, because greater responsibility. It's also much more room to go wrong, right? Now, it won't happen because it was Chafetz La'etiv, but, it could theoretically work out that way, but the Yid doesn't care. Right? He's just in it to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm not into Judaism because it actualizes my potential. I'm into Judaism because it's just what I am. I'm HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Malchus. I am his Malchus. He's my Melech and I'm his Malchus. Leslie Migar Miklum. Like the moon. Moon does not have any of its own light. The moon is not, working with the sun to increase his light, right? Just is, that's what I am. I'm a reflector of the sun's light, right? I'm a reflector of the sun's light, right? And that's what it means, the midah of Malchus, lesla migarma klum, has no sense of self. That's the side. David Melch was a nefel, no life of his own, and it's built up. That Malchus is built up through yibum, right? A sense of no independent sense of self, right? What's me? I'm Malchus Shemayim. He's the Melech and I'm his Malchus. That's that is right. What's the difference between us and them? And once that's you make that clear, it makes no difference how much good they do. They could do good. They do good and bring so much benefit, but it's all the garmayu of it. They all do it for themselves, and that's why they got frustrated when they became Potter Sukkah, because they were doing it to profit, right? So even though Oines Rachmana Patre, but we know the halacha is Oines is lav command of it. Right? You don't get paid. Like the contractor says, I didn't build your house that you paid me in advance for, right? Because my wife had a baby, right? I just, this throws everything out of whack, so can't do anything for 6 months, right? Right? So I didn't build the house. So I'm an onus. Right? He doesn't keep the money. He may be potter from penalties if you stipulate penalties, but he doesn't keep the money. They wanted sukkah to make profit. So they were potter from sukkah, but they didn't make the money that they want. So that's why they kicked the sukkah. As if I didn't gain, so b'shul mazetov. That's why Klaisel doesn't kick the sukkah on the way out. If HaKadosh doesn't want me in the sukkah, he denied me the opportunity to serve him. I accept that. Right? And that's and that's the final Yeshua. Right? The final Yeshua, and that's the avodah of tonight. With receiving the chotam, the bria is receiving its chotam, but of course, it's first imprinted on Klal Yisrael. But it's also, you're also and being imprinted with your badge of honor. So it's a time of tshuva. It's a time of tshuva because you wanted that it should be imprinted in the best possible. Often because while it's still happening and it's not in the past yet, it could still be augmented to be al atzara yoser tov. Because there's always more room to daven, more room to do tshuva when things are still happening and they're not in the past yet. That's why Dirshu Hashem bi Matzu, Elu Asar Yom from Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. It's a time when tshuva is most expected, most accepted. Why? You should have done tshuva beforehand, before Yom Adin. Because the pshat is the whole bria is being refashioned now. That's why everything's easy to reevaluate. Things are still happening. So it's very easy to stretch things, right? Fix things. It's between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the bria is mamish silly putty. It's mamish the time that you could, easily, make up for things done wrong and put things right moving forward. And the same thing is tonight, because it's happening now, and now is the time to daven, and because tomorrow night will be too late. Right? But going in in steps. Tonight the chosam is made, and then the petek goes out in response to the chosam, because now the plan has been imprinted on reality, and then the petek goes out, and that in course of the whole tomorrow, that's why you can still do tshuva tomorrow, because the petek hasn't been delivered yet, right? It goes active on Shmini Atzeres, right? But talking about the big tikkun that happens dafka tonight, that's, it's only tonight, it's not tomorrow. Tomorrow, the petek is in transit, so we could still be mamtik things until the petek goes live, and they start acting upon the petek, which is on Shmini Atzeres. Right? But the chosam is made tonight. It's the end of Tikkun Leil Hoshana Rabbah. The moon is getting its seal. The Makabel, Knesset Yisrael. That's Nimshal Kalavana. That's why we say by Kiddush Levana, David Melch Yisrael Chai V'Kayim. Chai V'Kayim, even though he's a bar nefli, right? Because Chai V'Kayim, because he has the real life. Besod Vatem Dvekim Ba'Hashem Elokechem. Chaim Kulchem Hayom. The Chaim of B'charta V'Chaim. No sense of Chaim of his own. Only his life is our life. Literally, Ki Heim Chayenu Baruch Yameinu. Right, the Torah is our life, and so this imprint of the Bris it's also a badge of honor that for Klal Yisrael. Besod simeni kechosam alibecha, right? The idea that just by virtue of being Jewish, we belong to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, regardless of what we do, right? Our sense of self, right, is that He's the Melch and we are His Malchus. We have no other sense of self. Right? And that's ki'atem mam'itim es atzmechem. Hamarkon, that we lessen our sense of self, and we identify, right? We identify as Malchus Shamayim, right? And when we get that clear, that just puts us on a different plateau than the goyim, right? Because as much as they do, it's all legarmayu. They're just doing it for themselves, and we just do it for Him, and that's why it's the day of the Arava. Right, the simple Jew, because it's about not. Let's put aside what you do, because the competition between who does more good could go on forever theoretically. Could go on forever, and even forever it'll always just be a quantitative difference, not a qualitative difference. Right? On Hoshana Rabbah, the big Yeshua is that Klal Yisrael shows we are Malchus Shamayim, and we don't identify in any other way. And when you identify, now you're getting your seal. You're being branded. Just like the imprint of the programming for the new year is also our badge of honor that we're branded with, that we belong to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's called getting our second seal, and the Svarim liken it to Hilchos Kashrus Chosam B'Tol Chosam. That's Shtein Svarim. Besod, and that's the Davar Nifl is Bona. You can understand why you need Hoshana Rabbah to get to Shmini Atzeres. Right? Understand the amkus of it. That, Chosam B'Tol Chosam, now you could transport meat, and it could theoretically be out of the hands of a mashgiach, but now it's because it's double sealed, as doubly identified. You could theoretically you could buy it in Costco. You could buy your kosher. If it meets the criteria of chosam b'tol chosam, it's not as the simonim that are requisite, right? It never. So even though it's not in the hands of a Yisrael anymore, it still never loses its identity. It's kosher meat. It's kosher meat wherever it is. It's sealed and protected, right? During the 7 days of Sukkot, we have to hide, as it were, in the Sukkah from the kitrug of the goyim. Because Rach b'Yisrael Yeshu b'Sukkos, right? That's our safe space. All right, I hate to say our safe spaces, right? That's right. Right. Not to give credence to, but it's not. But it's caused our soul that, as Zohar says, "Man de'il migizar mishosh Yisrael." Only they sit in sukkah. If a guy visits you in your sukkah, he's not really in sukkah. He's just, and behind some panels. We're in the holy space of sukkah, right? But we could come out of sukkah on Hoshana Rabbah and move back into the house, and not worry about losing our connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because we get our second. We're now chosam b'tol chosam. We've been doubly sealed. Mi bifnim and mi bachutz, right? Now we could go back into the house, and we never lose our connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the same thing that gets us out of the final din, right? On the occasion of the Bria getting its chosam, that the chasim of Yom Kippur is being now imprinted. That's why, as we're Hoshana Rabbah and Yom Kippur are reciprocals. One's by day, one's by night. It's like on a chosam. What's bulges on the imprinted is indented. That's Hoshana Rabbah, Yom Kippur and Hoshana Rabbah, right? the seal above and the second seal, and Am Yisrael is now chosam b'toch chosam, right? And that's what, kayadua, Shmini Atzeres connected Olam Haba. Right, the 7 days of Sukkot are connected Shita Feshnin Have Alma v'Chad Charuf, and this is this critical seventh day. This is connected Chad Charuf, right? On this day, as it were, this world's coming to an end because the 7 days of Sukkot, represent the seven millennia of Olam Hazeh, and that's why the Goyim are there by Sukkot. Shivim Park Neged Shivim Umos. We read in Haftarah the first day of Sukkot, L'Asilo. They have to come and celebrate Sukkot. They have to come, and if they don't come, they don't get rain. It's because it's the time of it's the time when the whole Bria is being reformed, right? And they're part of it, and they're there to prosecute. Why us? Why are we at the core of it? And they're on the periphery, and that's part of their kitrug, right? And all this shuts down on the set, like in the seventh millennium, everything shuts down. Chad Chorov, this whole thing shuts down. On Hoshana Rabbah, this Reformation period has been closed. It's closed. It has been. It's been imprinted already. The Pettig has been Nimsar. Who's left? Just Am Yisrael's left, and that's the lashon of the Medrash. Right, that the king made a suda for all the people, and then he and his son are left alone. Right, everyone, all the guests went home, and he says, the Lashon king says, "Bo negalgel b'mashen nishar." Let's just enjoy whatever's left over. That's why it's par echad, serving leftovers. Shemini says, it's Lashon Medrash. Bo negalgel b'mashen nishar. That's why it's only par echad, ayel echad, keneged uma yechida. Pshat is like this. All that's going to be left at the end of time. When this world shuts down, all the liberals are going with it, right? Right. Yeah, when it shuts down in the seventh millennium, only Klal Yisrael is going to be left, right? And that's why it's called the Suda Katana, the Midah of Malchus that's so small, the Midah of Malchus, right? That's all that's the Nakuda that'll be left, that'll make it to the Elef Hashmini, which is what Shmini Atzeres. It's all that's going to be left from this whole world is this Nakuda Katana. And we get the ability to survive, when this whole framework, which the Goyim are a part of, is going to shut down. On Hoshana Rabbah, we get that Chosam b'toch Chosam. We're going to make it. We're going to make it, that when all this shuts down, we will survive. We'll be there in Olam Haba. We'll be there in the Elef Hashmini. Right? That's why, we could go back into the house that represents, and that's what it means after Shmini Atzeres. After that, you had a Rebroshim had a problem. Kosher lai pridaschem. So why is it any better after Shmini Atzeres? You can miss me after 7 days together. You miss me even more after 8 days together. Shmini Atzeres represents that we're not separable from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? But you can only make that unbelievable transition. Right, that you're inseparable, and that's what the Atzeres is. Kanisha, we're always with him, right? And there's we can't part. We can't part, right? But this is what the Pasuk says: Ten chelek l'shiva v'gam l'shmona. Chazal says 10 chelek l'shiva is the shiva simei sukkos. V'gam l'shmona, right, is Shmini Atzeres. And the Zohar says less Shmini ela migoy shvi. You don't come to the 8th except going through 7 first. Now the Zohar is not there to teach you simple math. Right, they need 7 to get to 8. The pshat is like this, right? We can't get to Shmini Atzeres without the power of Hoshana Rabbah. We can't get there, right? Hoshana Rabbah is like a whole represents of how when the whole game of Olam Hazeh is over, we'll still be left, right? That's what it represents. It's if anyone who makes it through Hoshana Rabbah, if you make it through Hoshana Rabbah, you go to the 8th. You got to make it through. They don't make it through Hoshana Rabbah. But we will get that chosam, right? We get imprinted, branded with the honor that we belong. Simeni kechosam alibecha, right? We get that brand. We get our chosam b'toch chosam, right? We're the ones that could make it because we went through a Hoshana Rabbah, right? We go from Shvi to Shmini. If we do the avodah of Hoshana Rabbah right, we graduate to a whole nother level, right? And the avoda is like total it's time to daven, but the ikra avoda is the total hisbatlus to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the arava, and that's the arava, right? And that's what the Radziner says. That's why the Nevi'im didn't want to give it a din mitzvah, because this is something else. We're in competition with them, who does more mitzvahs. And not only that, says the Radziner, the reason why Chazal were metaken birkas ha-mitzvah is that you have to remember, Asher Kishon mitzvos. If you think you have koach to do mitzvahs, you're doing him favors. Asher Kiddushanu, he gave you the koach to do mitzvahs. You've got to remember where the koach to do mitzvahs came from. The koach of Gadol mitzvah v'oisa. You got it from the tzivui. Right? That's why we need birkas ha-mitzvah. Over here, it's about the pashtus of the yid. Minaganavim, just the yid, how he identifies himself. It's not a mitzvah. It's not an act that we're doing to serve him, right? This is something else. It's about, sense of identity. Who am I, right? And the answer is, I'm nobody. I'm Malchus Shemayim. Nobody as an individual, right? Leslie migar miklum, and they do everything ligar maihu, and that's the amazing thing, right? Sulu l'rochev ba'aravas b'koshmo. Right? Sul Rochev Ba'aravas, right? Of course, it's called Rochev Ba'aravas. The highest Rakia is called Aravas. So now, in their model of the universe, that it was built of concentric circles, something very interesting. So the outermost ring, the Rakia, is one edge is the highest, the other edge is the lowest. It goes all around reality. Right? That's in the Chazal's and the Rambam's also picture of the universe. So Aravos reaches the highest place and also reaches the lowest place. It's the most outer rim of reality. And of course, who's above it all is called Rochev Ba'aravas. It's also called Rochev Shamayim Be'ezrecha. That Kavyochel, we're the players. That we Kavyochel help HaKadosh Baruch Hu run the world with our mitzvahs and averos, but it's all Aravas, right? The Aravas on one hand is the lowest madrega. One aspect of the rim reaches the lowest point, right? But the other aspect of the rim is the highest point. Because our lowest is our highest. Sofam noetz betchilason, the pashtus of a yid, right? As much as it represents low, no Torah and no Yerush, no Torah and no mitzvahs, but that essence that the Torah mitzvahs are added to, that the Torah mitzvahs is piled on top of, that essence is just there for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, just there for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not for itself, right? And then that's our bailout. And that's why we're in a whole different category, and that's why we were chosen and we were given mitzvahs and not them, right? Because of this difference in perception of self, right? So it's even the lowest, but it's also the highest. Rochev Ba'aravas. It is the day of the Arava. It is the day of the Arava, right? And it's, even though it's the lowest, and that's where the klipas could sometimes cling to, right? And that's why we have to sweat the Aravas to get the forces of evil, shake it off from there, right? But that pure essence, that so simple, right? But it's also so high, right? It's because it's the essential difference between Am Yisrael and the Goyim. The essential difference, as opposed to our Tarek versus their Shemitz, that's a difference in what we do. The difference that comes out of Shabbat is the difference in who we are. The essential difference. Rosh should help, we shall be nechtam, get our chasima, the final chasima could be all the toiv and which daven, should be all the Yeshuas and a good kvittel and all Yeshuas and brachas for Klal Yisrael.
Amen.